Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Welcome to the month of March.
I can't believe it went that fast. I'm like, it is March 1st.
Yep, here we are, midweek and beginning of the month of March, and St. Patrick's Day is now 2 weeks from day after tomorrow. So.
Yes, and people are already getting prepared for that.
Mm-hmm, yep. Well, they're getting prepared. They get prepared, I think, the day after the last one. So it's pretty much 24/7 around here some of the time. Glad to have you aboard here on this Wednesday morning. Closing argument's going to be taking place today right up the road in Walterboro, South Carolina, at the Colleton County Courthouse after 27 days of legal proceedings, that is, and some illegal proceedings, I'm sure. 5.5 weeks. Closing arguments are set to begin sometime today in the double murder trial of the disgraced and disbarred South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh.
Yeah, I think that the jury will come back fairly quickly, but I could be wrong. But I think that the evidence has been pretty compelling.
It has been fairly overwhelming. Murdaugh was indicted in July of 2022 for the June 7th, 2021 shooting deaths of his wife Maggie, younger son Paul, facing life without the possibility of parole. And it's just it is pathetic what we're seeing here of what one person can do and what drugs can do to ruin a person's life. When you are, I think Trey Gowdy probably said it best. You are in a family business that has been established by your grandfather, a very successful law practice. You don't have to do anything except do your job. Don't steal money from clients and represent them well, and don't kill anybody. And you pretty much you're on the gravy train. But that's not the case with this guy, and that's what drugs can do. That's the danger of all of this nonsense. The worst thing in the world are drugs that are destroying people's lives. Look at the lives that have been destroyed because of this, and this is just one family. And we've seen so many now. Brittany, did you see the heart-rending video of this woman, these testifying about fentanyl before Congress now, lost both of her sons to fentanyl. She said she didn't even know what it was. She didn't know what Narcan was or anything else. And she's lost two of her sons. And she said, and you know, the government's supposed to be protecting us, and you're not doing anything.
Well, and then, she also said they thought they were Percocets. So that's also become normalized among children as well as the opiates,
Exactly.
And they thought that they were getting these. I mean, unfortunately, trying to do recreational drugs is just not a thing that you should do. You shouldn't do it in the first place, but kids try things. But at this point in time, with the fentanyl being as out of control as it is, there's a large chance that someone can be, fatally harmed from this, obviously. Mm-hmm. And we're not and the other thing is there's test strips. We have test strips for this now, so that's the problem that they're solving.
Ding.
That's how they're going to solve this problem, Bill. And I just, it's not the government's responsibility to make sure that it wasn't coming over the border. And the other argument that I heard about that was that fentanyl's always been coming over the border. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's nothing new.
Oh yeah, that's the argument sometimes we get from Geraldo Rivera. Who ought to be on The View rather than with Fox News, when they say, well, an illegal alien ran through a stop sign. I had a dear friend. We were just down in Brunswick yesterday. A dear friend down in Brunswick who was killed in a car wreck from an illegal alien who was drunk out of his mind, and a wonderful lady. And the excuse from people like Geraldo is, well, drunk people are drunk in America. Americans get killed too by drunk people who are for citizens. And I'm like, so that makes it okay. We don't need. Okay, we have enough citizens who get drunk and kill people. We don't need to import any.
I think that's the big thing is that, yes, all of these problems exist, but importing more problems is not going to solve what we already have.
Exactly.
Either. It's creating a lot of chaos and, I think the fentanyl overdoses are up 20 times what they were prior to this administration taking office. So in the last 2 years, it's gone up 20 times. That's insane, Bill. And the fact that people are like, well, it was always happening, but never at this rate.
Exactly.
And they were trying to do things to limit what was coming in the country. And now they have this new program bill that, it's fine. We'll just have them come through the ports of entry. They won't be coming through the border like they have been.
Yeah.
But now they have an app on the phone that they can come in very easily to avoid any sort of photographs or anything that would make them look bad.
Yeah, who's paying for that?
That would be the taxpayer.
I see. Okay.
Yes. And I believe I believe that they also qualify for Social Security, from what I understand. So they get free money, and what do Americans get? The bill.
Yeah. Yes, sirree. So you suckers are paying for this. So meanwhile, Murdaugh is the prosecution, state of South Carolina, was not asking for the death penalty in this case, just life without parole. And also the jury about 9:30 this morning is actually going to visit the scene, the murder scene.
Oh, wow.
So the court is expected to resume at 11 o'clock this morning. So at 9:30, the jury is going to be visiting the murder scene. Then 11 o'clock, the trial will resume. We'll have some more information for you on that tomorrow. And meanwhile, there is a God.
There is.
Lori Lightfoot has just been given the big smackdown in Chicago. Yes, Miss Lighthead has been handed her head. It was just amazing. She got only like 17% of the vote. She wasn't just a close second. She was a very distant third in this three-person race.
Well, so her TikTok videos didn't work of her delivering pizzas and
letting felons out of prison to go campaign for her. None of that stuff worked. What got me was her concession speech, where she's talking about what all the good things she's done for Chicago and how the murder rate has dropped, homicide rate has gone down, and how she's protected people from guns and everything. It was like, lady, what planet are you living on?
Tell that to the people that live in your city. Mm-hmm. They don't feel protected. They do not feel like you've done anything for them except for record dance videos in the street.
It's unbelievable. It is just unbelievable.
Well, but thank goodness, right? Like, they needed a change in Chicago. I don't know the person that won, but hopefully they're a good person and that they will make some big changes.
Well, they haven't won yet. There's a runoff.
Oh, yeah, the runoff.
Because they've got two guys. Yeah, and I'm not sure that the number 2 guy in that runoff it might be anything but Lori Lightfoot Light, because he's a defund the police guy. The guy that got the top vote getter, don't recall his name right offhand, but he got like 38%, 33 to 35% of the vote. And this other guy laid like 28. So he probably will win the runoff, but we'll just have to wait to see. But the number 2 guy is not exactly, should we say, the savior. Just like the people of New York mistakenly thought that Adams was going to be the savior for them. For God's sake.
Oh, he's been terrible too, and he's been. I think that people thought if they elected a former police officer that they would see more law and order. Mm-hmm. They did not get that, Bill. They've seen.
No, they didn't.
I think that we saw that. I think he was a Fox reporter that was mugged in the subway.
Yeah, a weather guy. Well,
yes.
he was stopping a mugging.
Okay, that's
and
what it was.
He got beaten. I mean, this was a very heroic act. He could have been killed. Mm-hmm. But he jumped in instead of taking video of it like everybody else was doing.
Well. The funny thing about that is we're seeing the culture break down in real time. Mm-hmm. When you see people, the reason that people don't intervene, Bill, is because why would someone be willing to go and do the right thing for someone else when they're going to be prosecuted by the state? Because some of these DAs are not allowing people to protect other people or even themselves. And so we're seeing the culture break down in real time. There was just a murder that took place in broad daylight in the city of St. Louis. I don't know if you saw that video, but the person filmed it. The guy literally was messing with his gun for probably 15 to 20 seconds and shot this homeless guy in the back of the head, filmed it, and he didn't film the shooting, but he filmed everything up to the shooting. And I didn't intervene, didn't do anything, walked away.
This is the world that we're living in these days. Meanwhile,
in East Palestine, we do have some good news for those people.
Speaking of the world we're living in.
Yes, and there are people trying to do the right thing and trying to give back to people and make sure that they know that they're not alone. And one of those people is Benny Johnson. He has been amazing throughout this thing. He went and gave $1,000 to 20 people in this area. And I think, we have him talking to people from East Palestine as he gives them $1,000.
So close, in fact, you can see the train car wreckage from their backyards. We thought this would be a good place to start.
We're gonna walk up and hand them an envelope. Inside of that envelope is going to be $1,000 cash. And hopefully this money will go towards clean food, water, whatever they need right now. But nobody's helping these people. So we're gonna help. We're gonna help. And we have 20. We have 20 of these to give out.
If you're interested in where we got this money, please stay tuned to the end of the video. We'll tell you where every single dollar came from. As soon as we were done filming this scene, a man named Smiley walked up to our car to talk with us, tell us his story, and show us the train wreckage in his backyard.
So this is your house right here?
Yeah.
So no one's shown up to help?
No, I haven't talked to anyone from the railroad. You know, they're all hiding.
You've helped out other people before.
Yeah.
Yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. If I can give them food, I give them food. They need something. If I have the ability to give it to them, I do.
We wanted to help you out today.
Well, thank you.
Is $1,000, and we hope that it can go
this
to.
will help out a lot.
God bless you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to move my things and I don't want to be bothered.
Okay. Well, I don't need to interview you. I need to hand you this. Inside of that is $1,000 cash. It's from people all around the country who care about people who are affected by this.
Well, I'll just tell you right now, I appreciate you. It definitely helps, man. You just paid for my rent for my first month, so appreciate you guys.
Well, there you go.
I'm out of here and I'm going to be in a lot better shape after this. So.
Well, good. All right. My man. God bless you.
Yep. Have a great day.
How has this been affecting you?
Oh God, my whole life's turned upside down. Spent $148 on cleaning supplies, but I'm more concerned about the elderly in the area, disabled. They can't clean their house top to bottom.
We're here to help. We've brought this for you. So that'll pay for your cleaning supplies.
Thank you. Don't make me cry.
For real?
That's yours.
No, no catches?
We don't want anything.
Hey.
We just want to say
I really
that we're
appreciate it.
sorry.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you do not have to do that.
This is why we came here.
We appreciate as much as we can get out there. We absolutely appreciate it.
Has anybody been out to help, or like has anybody offered assistance?
Not so much. Say hi. Hi. It's my grandson. Hi. God bless you guys for doing and helping people. Just thank you so much.
Oh my God. I have 2 daughters in here and we struggle so hard. My oldest daughter's been trying to help, but we really appreciate this. Thank you guys so much.
I just wanted to give you $1,000.
For what? Who are you? You're not with NS?
No,
Lawyers?
not with anyone. I can show you my social media.
Please?
Yeah.
I honestly, in the last 10 days,
Yeah.
it's hard to trust folks.
We're sorry that this happened to you. So there's $1,000 cash in there. We don't need anything from it. Just wanted to say we love you.
Thanks.
I wanted to give you this.
I just can't even believe it. It's a nightmare. It's starting to weigh on my mind, not just my body, Have a cough now. And it's concerning. Can I hug you?
Oh, that's what I'm here for.
God bless you. You're angels.
You are. Truly are.
Here to just hand you this. Inside of that envelope is $1,000 cash.
I thank you. Appreciate it. Where are you guys from? Or
Tampa, Florida.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I will pay this forward, absolutely. There's a lot of people that need like diapers and water and stuff, so
That's right.
yeah, I really appreciate it.
All right.
Really?
That's $1,000 cash.
Holy crap. Wow.
And,
Oh,
Is that for real? Giving me
yeah. Wow, that's
bless you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
helping us.
Of course. So it's $1,000 cash.
There's someone else that needs it more than me. So.
How about you pay for it? Because you know this community better than I do. You will know who needs it more, right?
Yeah.
God will
Right.
put that person in your path, okay?
All right.
All right? God bless you. $1,000, man.
And I appreciate it. I really do.
That's $1,000 cash.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. And that's all I need from you. I don't need anything else.
Wow, man, that's really, really nice. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you a lot, guys. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
You about to have a baby?
Yeah. Yepper. Good boy.
What was your name?
So we're gonna call him Jordan Santino Truman.
Jordan Santino Truning.
Yes, sir.
Great name, man.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Cameron.
Cameron?
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
And I'm trying to struggle with this right now. It's a pain in the head.
Here's for your son.
Thank you so much.
Here's for your child. It's good to, I'm a dad myself, so it's good to have a little something extra.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. You're just so good. This is good. Hug from you too. Oh my God.
We just want to say there's a country out there that loves you. The power of helping out your fellow Americans, man, is beautiful. $1,000. People are crying, people are hugging us, and it feels good. It feels good to help your fellow Americans. So where'd we get this money? Who paid for this? Well, you did, actually. By watching our videos, we get monetization, and we got about $20,000 last month from that. And so we decided to spend it here and take the money that we get from you watching our program and give it to these people. So if you like these videos, keep watching, keep sharing, share this video so that we can inspire more people to do good. From East Palestine, Ohio, my name is Benny Johnson. See ya.
We need to see more of that, Bill.
Anytime
People giving back.
I think the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Just wash, as Paul Harvey used to say, wash your ears out with this. But in this case, wash your ears and eyes out with that. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. When I heard that the people in East Palestine, everyone that's been there has said that they are so nice, just the kindest people, would do anything for anyone. You know, do you think that this will actually impact Joe Biden running again? I mean, he already has a lot of shenanigans, but do you think that this is a turning point in his presidency where people are like...
It very well could be. It very well could be. And, of course, he's going to be... I'm sure he's announced, that he's going to be running again. There's no doubt about that. It's elder abuse. His wife is a power monger, just like Fetterman's wife. We haven't heard much from him lately either. But this very well could be the turning point. And I think a lot of Democrats are concerned.
Yeah, well, I think that when we're not doing right by Americans, regardless of who they vote for, or, they're still Americans. And at the end of the day, we should be taking care of those people.
Just because they voted for Trump is no excuse. All right, coming up next.
We have some brave young men that we should also be proud of. They are doing amazing things, talking to their school board and really giving it to them, Bill.
Wait till you see these kids. I'm waiting on them to run for Congress.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
At Get Real America, we'd like to thank the Southeast Georgia Republican Assembly for all their efforts on making a difference in our communities.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Here it is, March the 1st.
Yes, and we are headed right into March with a fire and a fury.
We sure are. And of course, we have been discussing the pathetic state of our public schools lately. Well, not lately, but the pathetic state of our public schools. And I'm not sure we can save them. I'm really not sure we can save them.
You know, I think you and I have heard 2 speakers in the last month that have said, get out, run away from these places, figure it out, get away from these schools, build your own. You know, ask the church to let you use their building, like all of these things that are solutions to the problems that we're seeing. Because I don't know, Bill, after watching some of these clips from these school board meetings, I don't know if they're worth saving.
I know, and you know they look when we were talking about the lady that heartrending video of the woman that was testifying before Congress about losing her children, two sons to fentanyl. And it seemed like the look on the panel, you know, the congressional faces were like, okay, finish it up, you know, wrap it up. We got other work to do. We got to give money away to Ukraine or something, or you know.
There's no compassion for people.
No,
none.
And school boards are looking at that the same way. You know, we'll listen to what you have to say as long as it doesn't decide what we've already decided to do. And this is disgusting. And it's taking things like 11-year-olds. To point out what is wrong with our school system, starting with this young man who went before his school board and said, look what I found in my library.
Hi, my name's Knox Zajac. I'm 11 years old and I go to Wyndham Middle School. I'm a 6th grader. I was in the library and this book was on a stand. I'd like to read you a page. My back over my hips as I ask if we should take our clothes off. And he's saying yes before I finish my sentence. He's pulling off my t-shirt, laughing when I can't undo his shirt buttons. He's undoing my belt. I'm reaching into his bedside drawer for a condom. We're kissing. Again, we're rolling over. Obviously, you can see where this is going. I don't know if it's because we're feeling especially emotional or just tired, or these past couple of weeks have been too much. But this reminds me so much of the first time we had sex. We were both fucking terrified, and the whole thing was kind of terrible because we didn't know what we were doing. But it was good too, so good, because we were a mess of emotions and we were scared and excited and everything felt new. So this sort of feels like that. Nick touches me like he's scared that any minute. Now this book was at my middle school and it was on a stand. When I rented it out to show my dad it, the librarian asked if I wanted more and if I wanted a graphic novel version.
Oh boy. So I'm that kid's father.
Okay, good. I was asking for you.
Yeah, I'll take another 3 minutes. So that's my son.
Okay.
11 years old, and went to his library and found that by the entry door of our library, this is the smut that he is finding, all right? I don't care whether it's gay, straight, bisexual, whatever the terms are for all this stuff. Doesn't need to be at our school. Doesn't need to be at my 11-year-old's library. And then as far as genderqueer, I've got a son in the high school as well. And this is bullshit. We know it, all right? We do not need to be having literature that's showing boys how to suck dick, all right? I'm very, very frustrated about it, okay? And you may think that schools know the best for our children. You know who know the best for our children? The parents.
Very uncomfortable just for me to sit here and listen to that.
I was shown stuff like this by Gold Star mom Lisa Freeman when I was still doing my radio show, and it was jaw-dropping. She handed me, said, read page 44 or whatever it was. And this is the kind of garbage. Apologize for the language, and maybe we'll get put in YouTube purgatory again or something like that. But this is the kind of this is the stuff they're using to corrupt your children. It has nothing to do with education whatsoever. This is not the school's job. School's job is to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's it. And science. Give the kids skills. Give them knowledge about their country, about the founding, give them knowledge about scientific theories, give them knowledge about mathematics so that they can use those skills later in life to produce productive citizens. And this is communism, pure and simple. This is disgusting. And the people who published this book ought to be arrested. The people who wrote this book ought to be given 30 days in the electric chair. And the fact that they've got it prominently displayed in a public school is just pathetic.
Well, and these books are in Chatham County.
Yeah.
Let's remember that.
Lisa's in Bryan County, so right next door, where they're building the new coal burning plant.
Yep, and they were in Effingham, but there was a brave mother who went in and said, "This is absolutely disgusting. Get these out," and they were taken out. It was very easy to do over there. Not sure why it's so hard in Chatham County, but there is a Bill 154, no left turn in education. It has a petition out there. Go and sign it. It is to get the public school libraries in the obscenity law so that these books will be removed. So right now, because of the way the law reads, there's an exception and a loophole, and that's how they've been able to get these books in. We need to get them out. Our superintendent here is not interested in getting these out. Maybe the new one will, but
and I don't know anything about these people that come along and say, well, this is like book burning, this is book banning, and not many people check these things out. They collect more dust than they do readers. It doesn't matter if they get one reader. They shouldn't be there in the first place. This isn't book burning or book banning. This is justice to get rid of this crap.
Bill, if you handed that to a child, you would go to jail.
Yeah, at least you would have 10 years ago.
Well, I think that they still would come after you. If you handed that to a child, it's pornographic. And
how come the librarians aren't going to jail? Or the media coordinator, whatever the hell they call them these days?
Because they fall into that loophole exception. Mm-hmm. We do not, as citizens, we do not fall into that exception. If you're handing porn to children, you will be prosecuted.
So after the break, we're going to show you another brave young man who went to his school board and said that he was going to be taking a walk from public schools. That's coming up next as we continue to get real this morning. At Get Real America, we are focused on Savannah, but we'd like to hear from other communities as well. We have a lot in common.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
At Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was, and it was because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Good morning and welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard on this Wednesday morning as we get ready to crank up the merry month of March. And this isn't going to make you merry, however. The head of the second largest school teachers union, the American Federation of Teachers, Randi Weingarten.
And I don't think anyone knew who the person was in charge of these unions until COVID.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And Randi is on a rant because she's upset because the Supreme Court may be knocking down $400 billion. I keep the numbers to continue to be mind-boggling. $400 billion of your tax money that is going to not be taken, at least not be taken away from you.
And so that is why President Biden said we are going to deal with that. As we deal with the end of the pandemic, we're going to deal with that. We're not going to start student debt again without actually making a down payment of it. And the Secretary of Education had the right to do it. And frankly, and this is what really pisses me off, during the pandemic, we understood that small businesses were hurting. And we helped them. And it didn't go to the Supreme Court to challenge it. Big businesses were hurting, and we helped them, and it didn't go to the Supreme Court to challenge it. All of a sudden, when it's about our students, they challenge it, the corporations challenge it, the student loan lenders challenge it. That is not right, that is not fair, and that is what we are fighting as well when we say, cancel student debt. This is about the people. And it is about the people's future, and it is about all of your futures.
She seems very angry.
Okay. Wasn't she in Ukraine recently for God knows what?
Yeah.
And what is she ranting about? First of all, this is she's supposed to be in charge of the public. I thought that was just.
I know. I'm like, how is she involved with that?
How is she involved with student debt? You take out these loans voluntarily, and there are ways to go to college without getting in debt.
Well, also, do you really need to go to college at this point? I mean, there are indoctrination centers. I think that there are very few professions in which you need to go. Even, I question some of the medical schools at this point and what they're teaching.
No kidding. Well, I've questioned law schools for a long time. Now questioning medical schools just seems to be pathetic. I remember 5 or 6 years ago, I was sorry to report the statistic that more people were applying for law school than medical school. I thought that was pretty bad.
We need less lawyers.
Yeah, but the accident business is really good, though.
Yeah, I bet it is. Well, and so here's my thing. She talks about the businesses during COVID. Those people were not given a choice by the government. They said, sorry, guys, you're, what did they call it? You're not...
essential.
Yeah, essential. That's what it was.
Yeah. Churches weren't essential, but the liquor store being open was.
Oh, absolutely.
It was. If your little mom and pop store wasn't essential, but Walmart was.
Yep. So.
And did you notice that any of those people at Walmart or any of the grocery stores or anything else were getting sicker than anybody else?
I did not notice that.
I didn't either.
So, they were told that they're not essential, so they have to close their doors.
And then they were lying about the statistics. If somebody came in with a heart attack, with a heart condition, and they had COVID, they died of a heart attack, they marked it down as dying of COVID.
Right, but also those PCR tests were not super accurate either. They were giving a lot of false positives and things like that as well. There was a lot of issues during COVID, and
still are.
Yes, yes, there is.
Like where it came from?
Yes. Well, that's coming out, isn't it?
Big argument that we're having there. But this woman, I heard Mike Pompeo, former Secretary of State and also CIA chief and top man in his class at West Point, and could be a presidential candidate. Looks like he could be a presidential candidate. His book is out, Never Give an Inch. And also they did a Fox feature on him as well. Mike Pompeo is a good guy. I'd love to see him as president. But he said that Randy Weingarten is the most dangerous person in the world recently. And I said, oh, come on. Now you got Xi Jinping and we got Vladimir Putin.
So hyperbolic, right?
Yeah. And so Randy Weingarten is the most dangerous person. You just saw the reason that he said that. Yeah, she is extremely dangerous. And these are the people who are running our public schools. That's why we say they're out of control. And here's a young man, another young kid with courage, who went before his school board and said, enough is enough. So let's we'll take a look at that. I mean, we just saw an 11-year-old. Now we have one a little more mature, but at the same time, he's reading the riot act to his school board and telling him, he said, "I'm out of here."
Hi, my name is Brad Taylor, and I just finished my freshman year at RHS. I've been a part of District 196 schools now for 10 years, and I'm going to give you a glimpse today of what's actually going on inside these schools. Despite the board's attempt to deny it, District 196 schools are quickly becoming a place where promoting activism is actually more important than promoting education. I'll take you back to my first day at RHS this fall. The principal came out and gave us a heartfelt speech about equality and standing together. He began to list countless races, such as Latino, Asian, expressing how much they matter and how important they are. But never once did he mention a race or identity that reflects me, or half the kids that were in the class. Now, members of the board, I know you haven't been to school in a while, and I know none of you or most of you don't have any kids left in the school district. But you must admit how uncomfortable it will be to be characterized just by your skin color on the first day of school and be thought that you were wrong just because of your skin color. So I will never forget the look one of my friends gave me from across the room as we were sitting there listening to this blatant bias being expressed in the so-called equity statement by the leader of our school. To be clear, I don't need you to tell me that I matter, but hearing the condolences given to other races and leaving just one race out, inevitably you'll start to feel like you've done something wrong. And in our principal's attempt to unify us, he instead created unwarranted boundaries and barriers between his students, pitting us against each other based on characteristics that we can't control. In another separate instance, I was told that writing "All Lives Matter" on the whiteboard was political and could be seen as offensive. When I questioned the teacher after class, she told me that she didn't have an answer and she just had to erase it, and it was quickly erased. There are political signs all over RHS, about specific races that matter, specific sexual orientations that matter, and specific perspectives that matter. But when I questioned the RHS administration about how these signs were political, they told me that they were supporting human rights. So when I questioned why the equity statement couldn't represent all students, they told me that to even ask that question was outlandish and offensive. And when I asked why that was, they told me, quote, "Whites have a pretty good situation right now," unquote. So is that not racism? Disregarding my question merely because of the color of my skin? To be honest, after enduring a year of the people in charge telling me that I'm a racist and I'm privileged and pointing out our irreversible differences, I've never noticed race more. And it's becoming the first thing I notice when I meet someone, which has never before been the case. RHS administration confidently told me that RHS students and staff are happy with their equity statement, but from my experience in talking with other students, this is not the case. I know many kids who disagree with their teachers, but they're too scared to stand up because they're worried that their grades will be docked and their learning experience will be affected. My honors government teacher, I'm not going to say his name, but he's mentioned that Democrats care more about all people while Republicans only care about themselves. And he's also inferred to us that socialism is better than democracy. He even had a statue of a socialist leader in his classroom. I've been told by a lot of kids that they just stay silent and adjust their schoolwork to reflect an acceptable opinion to secure a good grade. I've been approached by multiple teachers who have told me in private that they just want to say that they agree with me and they support me standing up, but they can't say it in front of the class for fear of being disciplined by the administration in some way or losing their jobs. There is clearly only one way to think in this district, and that is that they are teaching their kids to shut up if they don't agree. Now, members of the board, I want you to take a good look at yourselves in the mirror tonight and ask, are you really standing up for the equality of all people, or are you just pushing a damaging political ideology on our students? A fellow coworker at my job, who, by the way, is of color, discreetly told me that the schools seem to be pushing a very leftist agenda in class. This proved that not everyone is happy with your school, and not everyone who isn't happy is white. Now, due to all these instances I've mentioned and many more that I can't fit in this 5-minute speech, I've decided to leave this district and continue school on a private Christian school online. And there will be sacrifices, and I will not get to walk in the graduation ceremony or attend milestones at RHS, but I will be able to learn in an environment that is not intent on punishing me daily for my skin color and political views. Now, regardless of how you take my speech, whether you just shrug it off as malarkey or Fox News talking points, I encourage you to think about it, because someday I'm going to be a leader. I may be the president, a governor, or just a professional golfer, but I will never stop believing that everybody has value, no matter their skin color or personal beliefs, and it's a shame that you're not going to be able to say that I was an alumni of RHS in District 196. Thank you.
That kid is willing to do what a lot of adult men are not willing to do, to stand up for what's right.
Where can I go to vote for him? I want him to run for Congress tomorrow. What's the age limit on Congress? And I was 35 for president, but what other is there an age limit anywhere else? Because I want to vote for him. I'll move to his district, for God's sakes. I believe it was Minnesota. You find
yes,
we're tracking it down here as
yep.
to where he's from. Keeps
yes.
it reference. I'd like to find out what the RHS is, and talk if they'll tell if they know what a phone is.
Yeah, probably not. Yes, but it is District 196 in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Which is Rosemount, Apple Valley, Eagan Public Schools.
So that could be Rosemount High School. He kept referring to RHS. He never did actually give the full name of the school. So he's got my vote. I want that kid in Congress tomorrow.
Yeah, but he does bring up an interesting point that what kids miss out on when they move to some of the online classes. I mean, he's old enough to really push himself to do that, and he doesn't need supervision of his parents to be able to graduate. But I do think it's interesting. They do miss out on a lot of the high school experience, which I will tell you, high school was so fun for me because I was so involved in
likewise
on a dance team, and so I spent a lot of time at the school. I was at a lot of, school events, sporting events. And I don't know, one of the things that I always remember is the smell of fresh cut grass in football season, even today. So it is one of those experiences, and walking at graduation is a big deal.
Sure.
So
had a great group, and I was on school council. I was vice president of the student body. Also was in our Army ROTC, junior ROTC program. I was on the drill team my sophomore year. I was commander of the drill team my junior year. Then I was cadet colonel, the commander of the ROTC cadets my senior year. Really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the experience, and we had a group of kids. None of us drank, none of us smoked. We just had a great time hanging around with each other. Just memories of high school, and to see this crap that's going on now. And they actually taught us stuff, because we were being taught by the World War II generation. In fact, in some cases, the older teachers might have even been from World War I generation. So we were taught, we were still saying the Pledge of Allegiance. We were still praying in class. And praying in homeroom, reading from the Bible.
I did have a good high school experience, but I think that yours was probably better. So
I got to agree, even though I just know that how much more free we were then, and we were actually learning stuff.
Important, and what they're doing to our kids is not okay. And I just want to remind people that today is the first Wednesday of the month, so it is school board meeting day, and that is at 2:00.
We'll have a full report for you tomorrow.
Oh, yes, we always do.
Yeah. Meanwhile, coming up next.
We are going to be talking a little bit more about what's going on with Ron DeSantis?
Mm-hmm. And there's
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Here we are, first day of March, and we got lots to talk about with St. Patrick's Day coming up just 2 weeks from Friday.
Yes, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys are all prepared with your green, because it's a 3-day weekend event here in Savannah.
That's right. We'll be wearing the green.
Yes.
So we're getting ready, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So looking forward to that. Always a big crowd for any St. Patrick's Day, but especially when it falls on a weekend. There's always that.
Yes.
So get ready. Meanwhile,
well, PragerU, they're always giving us a lot of things to think about. And one of the things is, why was George Washington so great? What made him he was one of the greatest presidents we had. So
Yeah.
What made him so great?
I want to start getting a group together, start demanding that these things be shown in school. When you have groups that say, well, they had to watch Al Gore's a piece of garbage, but we do need to thank him for this wonderful internet. But at the same time, this inconvenient truth that they said we found at least 6 egregious errors in this film that he won an Academy Award for, and that was required watching for all of our kids. I want to start to see these PragerU things being required to be watched for all of our kids. Yeah, what did make George Washington so great, especially some of the schools that are taking his name off the building, okay?
It's hard to imagine there would have been a United States of America without George Washington. He was there at the birth of the nation. He successfully guided it through war and nurtured it in peace. How did he do it? Not by being a great general, a potent political theorist, or even a clever politician. He was none of those things. And yet he was admired by generals, political theorists, and politicians. Why? Because he was a man great men trusted. Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, James Madison, and so many others looked up to him. Literally. He was one of the tallest men of his era at 6'3". Add courage, integrity, and wisdom, and you have a truly impressive figure. Let's start with his courage. That was never in doubt. If anything, he had too much of it. Bold to the point of rashness as a young man, he fought for the British against the French over control of the Ohio Valley, then the westernmost point of the American wilderness. Throughout that conflict, known as the French and Indian War, and the American Revolution, Washington was always in the thick of the action. His aides often struggled to keep him from surging too far ahead of his own troops. In one battle, his coat was pierced 4 times by musket fire. Horses were shot out from under him. Amazingly, some would say miraculously, he was never wounded, not so much as a flesh wound. By the time the Revolution broke out in April of 1775, Washington was firmly committed to the cause of American independence. He arrived in Philadelphia in May of that year to offer his services to the Continental Congress. He was quickly made commander of the new rebel army. There was only one problem. There was no army to speak of. There was just a ragtag collection of state militias. How was Washington going to defeat the greatest military force in the world with that? It was a problem the general struggled with for 8.5 years. That he managed to hold the army together, organize it into a disciplined fighting force, and guide it to victory was testament to his fortitude, his patience, and his personal bravery. Of his integrity, one need only look at what he did when the war ended, exactly what he had promised to do when the war began. He resigned his military command and went home to Mount Vernon. By stepping down, Washington raised himself up as the embodiment of Republican heroism. It is said that King George III asked the London-based American painter, Benjamin West, what Washington was likely to do when peace came. West replied that Washington would probably return to his farm. The king was astounded. If he does that, His Majesty declared, he will be the greatest man in the world. This story may be apocryphal, but the Newburgh Rebellion and how Washington handled it is not. With experience had come wisdom. As the revolution wound down, a group of officers refused to give up their arms until they were paid. If they didn't get their money, which Congress didn't have, they would take control of the government. It was not an idle threat, no less a figure that Alexander Hamilton was in a panic. Washington, no great orator, sought to diffuse their anger. They had risked everything to create a Republican society, he told the officers. To abandon the cause now, when true victory was so close, would mean all their sacrifices would have been in vain. However convincing the speech may have been, it was a simple gesture that carried the day. He concluded his remarks by reading to them a letter sent to him from a member of Congress. Suddenly he stopped. From his pocket he pulled a pair of spectacles. None of the officers had ever seen him wear them. Putting the glasses on, Washington said, "Gentlemen, you must pardon me. I have grown gray in the service of my country, and now find myself going blind." He finished reading the letter and left the hall without another word. The gesture, sincerely offered with just the right touch of stagecraft, pierced the hearts of his men. Many were moved to tears. They immediately passed a resolution declaring their loyalty to civilian government. George Washington had saved the Revolution once again. It wouldn't be the last time. During the writing of the Constitution and during his 8 years as president, Washington was repeatedly called upon to hold the fractious young nation together. He never failed to do so. We commonly refer to George Washington now as the father of our country. It's hard to imagine any nation ever had a better one. I'm John Roadhamel, author of George Washington, The Wonder of the Age, for Prager University.
There have been so many great books on George Washington, and most of them are the thickness of Harry Potter novels. You know,
Yes.
it was just, he was such a remarkable human being, dying at such a young age as well. And he was, when the fact that, they said, okay, we want to make you king. He said, no, we won't have any of that. President, and then voluntarily giving it up after 2 terms. So he set the stage for what the presidency should be. So that was the template, and that's the one that we still go by today. And I can't imagine what we'd be without his leadership and what he did. I'm sometimes I said we ask kids, what is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? So
wisdom is experience.
Yeah, and somebody once said that bad judgment. What was it that you get bad judgment from, or what? Experience comes from something about bad judgment, and what do you get from, and where do you get from experience? You get it from bad judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just remarkable what he did. In the book 1776. The award-winning, the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel not novel, but autobiography, so to speak, or history of our country, from David McCullough, that came out I guess it's been about 12 or 15 years ago now. But I was reading this thing and said, how in the world did we, here we are going up against the most powerful Navy in the history of the world, the most powerful Army in the history of the world. They were so well equipped. They had so much, and here's this, as he mentioned, ragtag bunch of guys. We still weren't concerned about it being a United States. They were called the colonies in those days.
Right.
And if you had a bunch of guys come in from New Hampshire with a bunch of guys from Connecticut, they were fighting each other almost as much as they were fighting the British. It was like, and Washington had to give them that sense of community, that sense of national pride that we are one nation. We might come from different areas